Have you ever tried to read a story in Italian and just felt completely lost in a sea of words? Well, you are definitely not alone. And today, we're going to flip that feeling on its head. We're going to turn that challenge into a real skill and start unlocking the stories hidden inside the text.
So, does this sound familiar? You kind of get the gist, right? You might know who the story is about, maybe, but all those little details, the why and the how, they just seem to slip right through your fingers. You know, it's one of the biggest hurdles for anyone learning a new language, but trust me, it's one we can absolutely get over. So how are we going to do that? We're going to build something together. Let's call it your Italian Reader's Toolkit, your own personal cassetta degli attrezzi. And inside this toolkit, we're going to stash 4 super powerful tools, 4 techniques you can pull out to break down and really get what's going on in any Italian text you come across.
All right, so here's what we're putting in our toolkit today. First, I fondamentali, the fundamentals of who and where. Second, vedere con le parole, which is all about seeing with words. Third, alla ricerca del perché, the search for why. And finally, leggere oltre il testo, reading beyond the text. Sounds good? Let's get started.
All right, let's jump right in with tool number 1. This is the big one, the most essential tool in the box. It's all about getting your bearings right away. The second you start reading, you're looking for 2 things, the who and the where.
Okay, so to practice this, we're going to use a little story called Il primo appuntamento, or the first date. Take a look at this first sentence. Your mission, right off the bat, is to hunt for names. Who are the people here? So let's ask that super basic but super important question. Who are the main characters in this story? The answer is right there, if you know where to look.
Boom! Right there, Federico and Chiara. See, the trick is to actively scan for those proper nouns, for names, as soon as you begin. It's such a simple thing, but it completely anchors you in the story. It gives you someone to follow.
Okay, so that's the who. Now for the second part of this first tool, the where. Once you've got the people, you need the place. So, where did our 2 protagonists actually meet? And the text gives it to us, plain and simple. Nella libreria della scuola, in the school library. Finding the setting, it's pretty much the same strategy as finding the characters. You're just scanning for words that scream place. You know, words like in, at, or specific locations like library or school. And just like that, with only the who and the where, the story starts to take shape in your mind. All right, toolkit's open. Let's grab our second tool, vedere con le parole, or seeing with words. This one is all about turning words into pictures. We're going to use the author's descriptions to build a little movie in our heads. And the key? It's all about the adjectives. So for this one, we'll check out a text called La Casa al Mare, the house by the sea. Just listen to these descriptions. The house is bianca, white. The shutters are celesti, light blue. The sofa is also bianco. Now, these aren't just extra words thrown in for fun. Think of them as direct instructions for your imagination. And we can test this skill with a really simple question. What color is the sofa in the living room? You know, if you were just rushing through to get the plot, you might totally miss this. But if you're reading to see, the answer is crystal clear.
This is such a great way to see how it works. You're basically just playing a matching game in your head, connecting the object, the noun, to its description, the adjective. The house, it's white. The sofa, also white. The bedroom walls are lilac. The table is round. It's this active pairing that literally transforms black and white text on a page into a full-color world inside your head.
Okay, on to tool number 3. Now we're going deeper. We're moving past the what and the where and getting to the real heart of the story, the why. I mean, to really get a story, you have to understand why the characters are doing what they're doing, right? So this tool is all about becoming a detective and spotting their motivations, following that trail of cause and effect. Let's check out this example from La mia nuova macchina, or my new car. The narrator makes a clear statement. I decided to buy a new car. Okay, simple enough. But the really important stuff is what comes next, the reason. So the big question is, why? Why a new car? This is where a good reader puts on their detective hat. You're always on the lookout for the motive behind the action.
And check this out. The logic is laid out perfectly for us. Step 1, the old car broke. Step 2, so I thought it was better to get a new one. That little word così, which means so, is our big clue. It's a signpost. You want to keep an eye out for words like perché, because, dunque, therefore, and così, so. They're basically big flashing signs that point directly to the why.
But motivations aren't always handed to us that easily. Sometimes the clues are hidden in the details. For example, the text mentions the narrator works at the Fiat factory and got a 15% discount. Now that little detail adds another layer to the why. It wasn't just that the old car broke. Buying a new one was also a really smart financial move. See how that works?
All right, time for our fourth and final tool. This one's a bit more advanced. It's about learning to read between the lines, to pull out the cultural context that's woven into a story, because stories aren't just about what happens next, right? They're little windows into a whole culture.
Let's take a look at this piece from a text about Carnevale. Now, this doesn't just say people wear costumes. It actually gives us a psychological take on it. It says that for adults, Carnevale is a way to escape the day-to-day grind. Now, that is a cultural insight, not just a plot point.
This should make us ask a much bigger question. What is this text really teaching me about Italian culture? What does Carnevale actually mean in Italy, beyond being a big party with costumes? And if we read with that question in mind, we can pull out this incredible list of cultural tidbits. We find out what the holiday means for adults versus kids. We even learn about popular costumes like priests and nuns, which is fascinating. And we learn about traditions like throwing coriandoli or confetti. This is exactly what it means to read beyond the plot and start to understand the world the story lives in. So there you have it. Your brand new toolkit is packed and ready to go. 4 simple but really powerful strategies. Find the who and where. Use descriptions to visualize. Uncover motivations, and identify that all-important cultural context.
With these 4 tools, you're not just a passive reader anymore. Not at all. You're an active detective, a decoder of meaning, and you're ready to unlock whatever story you want. So the only real question left is, what story are you going to read next?